All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another Anthem live stream. We're very excited to have all of you join us today. We have some very exciting topics to talk through, but first of all, we should introduce our guest. So we're going to dial in our Edmonton studio where we have Emily Taylor joining us today as our guest player. Hey Emily, how's it going?
Hey there, it's going great. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, just to kick us off, why don't you explain to our amazing fans who have tuned in today who you are and what you do for Anthem?
Thanks. My name is Emily Taylor. I've been in the game industry about almost 12 years now, and I've been with BioWare for about a year and a half. I've been working on Anthem the last year, and I've been specializing in the area of agent quests.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Emily. In terms of agenda for today, for those of you who don't follow our every tweet with bated breaths, shame on you, you should be doing that. But in case you're not following, today we're going to look at a legendary contract and we'll explain what that means. We did a poll in the last week of which perspective people wanted to see today, and the vote was incredibly close, but Ranger won. So we're going to play as a Ranger today with a Spark Beam, as requested, and a few other weapons we'll talk about as we get there. Community also requested we show some keyboard and mouse control, so I'll be playing that today with keyboard and mouse, for better or for worse for all of us. And outside of that, that's kind of the main agenda, and then anything else that comes up, we'll be answering your questions. Before we dive in and have Emily kind of explain what some of those things were, all the regular disclaimers exist, and we remember to say it this time. The game, while very close to being finished, isn't finished yet. We might see some bugs. We might even see a crash. If we do, we'll just roll with the punches and keep going and keep talking about what we need to talk about, but just keep in mind that the game still isn't finished. If you all have questions, please type them in chat. Jesse is on hand to pull questions out and read them out to us. We're going to do our best to play and talk, so we'll see how that goes. So that's all the opening stuff. I see someone throwing flares in the background. Good job. We also have two secret developers with us. We're going to do a full squad of 4 today, and we may reveal who those two secret devs are later. But for now, and you can see all them behind, we've got a few friends here. But to kick us off, Emily, why don't you explain? We'll get to what a legendary contract is, but they're given to you by agents. So maybe let's start with, what is an agent in Anthem?
Sure. Well, as you know, there are several factions in Fort Tarsus and, in fact, in the world of Anthem. Some of those are, for example, the Freelancers, the Sentinels, the Arcanists. We've met some of those in your previous live streams. When we were looking at adding more quests into the world, aside from the main storyline, we could have just sort of sprinkled them around the fort, but we thought it would be more fun if you could do smaller quest lines so they could build up to a bit more meaning and help you get to know specific people. So we picked one person in each of the factions that we'll sort of focus on and who will give you those quests. So there are 3 agents for the 3 factions I mentioned: Freelancers, Sentinels, and Arcanists. I actually specialized in Agent Yarrow, who's the Freelancer. Today we're playing one of Matthias, who's the Arcanist, one of his contracts. And through their quest lines, you'll get to know not only a little bit about those people, but also their faction and what their factions stand for. When we talked about freelancers and what they are and what they do, we actually discussed sort of 3 pillars of what their behavior is. They're heroic, they're warriors, and they're explorers. And we also made the 3 factions and the 3 representatives of those factions sort of echo one of those 3 pillars. So we hope that each faction will feel a little different, but that you'll explore what it means to be a freelancer through each of them.
Awesome, that's great, thank you. So at this point with Matthias, we've completed his main story. He's given us a regular contract we've completed, and now he's asked us to do a legendary contract. So
exactly.
We put ourselves to level 30. We kind of have mid-endgame gear, so a few epics and rares, maybe a masterwork here or there. So what we might do is just jump into the action. There's several stages to a contract. We might just get through the first one and then take a little break, and we can explain kind of what that was about and how the legendary contract system works.
Sounds
so if
great.
Everybody is ready, we might start flying off. So some questions on keyboard and mouse with flight control. I think the team's made a lot of improvements. You can see the mouse movements aren't too crazy. It's pretty easy to get recentered. I can show you guys some of the settings later if that is of interest. And team here, I can't hear the in-game sound. If we could turn that on, that would be great. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. Turns out I turned my headphones off. So good. All right, so a little traversal as a warm-up. There's a lot of tricks with traversal, like trying to skim the water to extend your flight time and looking for waterfalls out in the open. But as we're getting to our first destination, probably one of the questions, Emily, that at least comes up a lot in interviews is, how did we try to design the world so that flight would be possible? So I don't know if you want to talk to that as we approach what looks like an Ursix.
Oh gosh. Actually, I think that might be a better one for you to talk about.
Yep.
I did not have much to do with designing the world. I just put the quests in it. So I can tell you from that point of view, we had a lot of fun making quests that worked well with the verticality. But I wasn't actually involved in the decisions of that.
Sure. So I know one of the things we talked about a lot was, in a game full of flight, how does every other part of the game make sense? Creature design, all the way through to building the world and allowing traversal so that you just can't fly over everything. And one of what I think are the most impressive things is, flight not only feels really amazing, but, all the rest of the game, plays well for it. I'm going to also show off right now one of the most requested abilities, which is this guy. Little spark beam.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Knocked out of the sky. So also on the weapon loadout, we had some questions about this from people. We decided to go with a heavy pistol. So the thing with a heavy pistol is slow rate of fire, but if you can hit weak points, the multiplier for weak point damage is much higher than other weapons. So we need to get all these fragments. So we should probably just split up a little. You can see in the top right our objective. So this is, I think I might actually already have one.
Yeah, I'm just getting one now. So what we're doing, as you can see from the quest helper up at the corner there, is we've come across a Shaper relic. These can be unearthed around the world of Anthem. They're obviously relics left over from the time of the Shapers, and they have fairly unpredictable effects. They can sometimes destabilize and throw off these fragments. When they're unstable, what they do is not only do they sort of summon creatures, what creatures may vary at this time. It seems like it's Scorpidons. I'm just getting blown up by one. Don't mind me. But also, in addition to the creatures that they summon normally, they are very valuable. These are Shaper technology. Who knows what you can learn from them or make them do for you? Everyone is different. So different factions in Anthem are going to be really excited to get their hands on them. Like that might be Dominions, that might be Scar, that's obviously us. In this case, Matthias will often be very interested when he gets a report of Shaper relics in the world, because the Arcanists love to study these things to learn more about our world. So yeah, you will come across these in quests as well as in contracts. And they do some unpredictable different things. But in this case, as I mentioned, we have scorpions, and they've clearly attracted an Ursix as well. The Ursix can also be attracted by the power of them.
All right, so then you can see, okay, looks like we've got the last two, but normally in the HUD, there is a UI element that's like a little compass or a radar, I'm not sure how you describe it, that kind of shows you where the fragments are so that we can go pick them up and turn them in. So we got one more left to go, and then we probably have to defeat the Ursix anyway.
Yeah, we can see that's one of our objectives. Oh my god, I'm getting eaten by Scorpidon.
As a reference point, we're playing this at level 30 on hard, so
this is fairly hard. Yeah.
It's pretty hard. You've got to coordinate a little bit. You doing okay? Yeah, we'll come help.
Yeah. I'm just gonna hang out here.
I think. I have one. This is why we're not doing it, because talking and playing is not my strong suit. Okay.
Yeah. Once we get that last fragment in and restabilize it, the most of the enemies should go away. Oop, just a couple left to clear out. Don't think the Ursix will go away though, so we might have to deal with him.
Okay, can we do a little cleanup here?
Yeah. There's my flamethrower.
All right. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not even done yet. Okay, it's fine.
I'm a little worried, but
I gotta get my epic loots that's dropped on the ground for me. Awesome. Nice win wall, Darren. Thank you. I just gave away who our third player is. It's fine. I also have a rally point here that increases weapon damage. So I'm gonna put this down here if anyone's interested. But this is 20% bonus weapon damage, which is pretty handy. It's one of the ranger's utilities. So the Ursix, I think we might have shown it before on stream, but he, if you hover, he'll throw big rocks at you and you have to kind of dodge in the air. Or if you're on the ground, same thing, you know, dodging over is the way to avoid his attacks. He also leaps up for like a ground smash, so if you kind of double jump over and fly up, you can get out of that.
Yeah, I'm running away like a rabbit. Okay, there's a health pack. Damn it, stop that. No. Well, since you mentioned it was Darren joining us, I'll just say, because I know Darren and we've worked together before, I love that I'm in the Colossus and he's not. He's, I think, in an Interceptor, because in real life, it's kind of the opposite. Darren is approximately twice my biomass. He's a really tall guy, so I'm enjoying being the Colossus at this point, Darren.
I just realized Camden gave himself away. He's called Bio Camden, which we haven't introduced Camden to our broader audience yet, but we can do that a bit later on.
Awesome.
All right, so that was stage 1 of a legendary contract, and you were telling me yesterday that there are multiple stages and there's some variety in that. How does that work for the contracts in the game? Oh, can you guys not fly ahead, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's just take a little break, little pause. Let's see if I can get back in before I get teleported.
Hey Ben, we've got a request from our viewers. They're asking if you can fly as high as you can.
Okay, I will do that. Emily, if you can explain contracts, I will fly as high as I can so we can see what happens.
So each faction, as I mentioned, is slightly different. They've got slightly different interests, which means they have also slightly different tasks in Fort Tarsus. So the freelancers are responsible for protecting people inside the fort and outside the fort, for example. Sentinels are more of the guards. Arcanists really need the researchers, etc. So as you interact with the agents, you'll get quests that have a storyline, but you will also be able to help out with that faction's daily contracts. They're like the tasks that faction is responsible for in the fort. So depending on what agent you got the task from, what you're going to be asked to do will be a bit different. We also want the contracts to be constantly renewable content, that even when you finished all of the story, you can still keep doing them and they'll remain fresh. So they're going to be slightly different every time. I don't want to call them repeatables because that has some negative connotations and we're doing it a little smarter than that. But you won't be able to predict what exactly you're going to be able to do, but you will know that it's related to that faction. For example, Matthias, as we've seen, is very obsessed with fragments when they appear, but he's got other Arcanist-related tasks. For Agent Yara, you might be rescuing a Strider or helping protect some Arcanists or things like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Even when we, you know, talk about most of the streams we do, we kind of turn up and say, we don't know exactly what's going to happen here. And so there's a little bit of randomness to it. Like we weren't expecting the Ursix, and now we have to silence this next shaper relic, and it looks like the creatures are kind of pushing out to us, so we might all dive in and get going. But thanks for the extra explanation.
Yeah, well, this gives us an opportunity to show that that search radar that you were mentioning before, because it's back on the screen.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, and you'll notice that it's got 4 quadrants, and the strength of the signal gives you a clue how close you are, but also in the middle, it's a little harder to see probably on the live stream, but there's a little arrow. So there is verticality too, and we do have a very 3-dimensional world, so definitely look at the arrow too. So you might be looking for something way up above you or below you.
Right, like when I fly up now, the arrow says down, so I know to kind of go down. And when it's the dot, it means I'm on the right level, right?
Exactly. There've been a couple quests I've been flying in circles until I realized, oh look, the arrow says down. It's actually below me.
All right. I didn't talk about my second ability you guys have been seeing, which is a sticky grenade. It's a grenade that does a lot of single target damage, so I'm kind of set up for single target damage. But when I throw it, it'll stick to the creature, the target, whatever, and then kind of blow up for a small AoE, but it's pretty high damage. All right, so we got to find the last couple of fragments here. Okay, a
I
few
think
more
everyone's
creatures coming
grabbed
in.
them, yeah. I think everyone's got one.
Oh, here we go. We've got some brutes.
Oh boy. So these brutes, okay, yeah.
And they're legendaries, so lots of hit points.
Yeah.
I will shoot whichever one you shoot. Okay, this one in the front. Yeah, legendary Ash Brute. So his weak point is in his head, so it's a good kind of spot to try to hit if we can.
Yep. Oh, I need a health pack. Run.
Yeah, these guys hit pretty hard.
They
And I think
really-
we're on
yeah.
fire. I don't know, Camden, can you
I'm
use
on
your
fire.
cleanse on the interceptor, please? I think you just used it. So we put Camden on his support ability, will cleanse status effects.
Oh,
Because
nice.
there's often a lot of things that cause fire, and then you can't fly, and not flying is kind of annoying. So he can clear that for us.
It's actually kind of interesting to me because as a quest designer, while I've been playing the game, a lot of the time I'm testing my quests and I'll play solo more often than I'll play in a group. So I haven't
Yeah.
necessarily seen all the abilities that the Interceptor and the other classes have.
Yeah, it's a whole new thing to play in a full group. It makes a really,
really
big
is,
difference, I
yeah.
think. It's a lot more fun, there's a lot more combos, there's a lot more group interplay options. So like these brutes as well, if you hover, they'll shoot fire at you to like prevent you from kind of trying to just hover above them. So I don't know, we have a Camden got cleanse again, I think. Oh no, it's on fire, it's okay. Probably on cooldown
well,
still.
I have a flamethrower,
Oh, you have a
so those
flamethrower, nice, okay.
brutes
That's
can
amazing.
be on fire for a while. Did we get them all?
There's one more who just came through.
Oh yeah, someone's still
Yeah,
carrying a
first
fragment and it needs to put it down. They're not
That would
gonna
be
stop
me
it.
again.
Ben,
You gotta stop
you're
picking
holding
them
us
up.
back.
I know, what a shocking move, right? That's fine.
You know, Mike Gamble mentioned something. He said that often you actually fly out here so that you're physically on the same site. But you didn't do that this week. Is that to do with the fact that it was -7 Fahrenheit or -22 Celsius for those
I
outside the
wouldn't
States?
say I'm a massive fan of the cold of Edmonton, that's for certain.
I looked at the weather this morning. I thought maybe I should fly to Austin. That'd be okay, right?
You should have come to Austin.
Yeah.
Now, we might have hit a snare here. I don't see the next quest step.
Oh, that's weird.
So, did we bug something out, do we think?
That is possible. This is a build that still has a couple bugs.
So that's cool. So what we'll do is, if you guys controlling the cameras can swap back to my head, I will end this, and maybe what we'll just do is see if we can restart again. And then for now, why don't we go ahead and take some questions? I'm going to end the expedition. If that doesn't end that for everyone, could you guys all just exit out, get back to Fort Tarsus? I'll send some invites out and we might go again. All right, so that was kind of, we did 2 out of the 3 steps of that legendary contract though. As you can see, a lot of the creatures were tougher, like we saw legendary variants, a lot more hit points, a lot more coordination required. We got a lot of cool loot. I'm actually looking at my end of expedition screen now. I don't want to share it with you, but let's see what I got. If it was anything cool. I definitely got some epics, and I think so I got like, just in that amount of time, I got 3 epics, 3 rares, and then a couple of commons. So not a bad little haul. So while we get reset up, we'll take some questions.
So one of the things chat was noticing was that your Javelin was cooled the whole time. Was it the rain that was affecting that?
Yeah. Can chat hear you, or do I need to repeat the
Oh,
question?
chat can hear me.
Oh, awesome. Well, look at this. Jesse, all the powers. Yeah, it was raining. So, we wanted to have some impact of the environment to how gameplay functions. So one of those things is that when it's raining, you'll get some extended flight time. So there's various levels of cooling, like flying through a waterfall kind of wipes out all of your heat. And then like skimming the water or some rain will just like extend the amount of heat capacity you have. So your heat meter will fill up slower. I don't think we want to show Fort Tarsus. If we can go back to we still on my head? Okay, that's fine. Cool. So I will get us ready to go again. What other questions do we have, Jesse? Oh, did we explain the flight ceiling enough? So when Emily was talking through how contracts work, the question was, hey, can you fly to the top and show us what that looks like? So can you guys ready up, please? So basically what happens is there's turbulence is kind of the ceiling. So as you fly high, there's these really strong winds that will just push you back to the ground. And so you'll burn your heat trying to go up, and then eventually you'll overheat and kind of crash land. And that's just our way of, controlling the playable space, which I think is a pretty cool solution the team came up with.
So another question we've got, I think we might have answered this one before, but what happens if you don't pick up loot?
Yep. So Talisker, can you hit ready? Okay, cool. Yeah, so we have some systems for this. We've explained it a couple times on social media, but basically, if you don't pick up a masterwork or legendary item, we'll mail it to you. But everything else, you basically lose if you don't pick up. And so the reason for that is, if we just sent everything to you, you would never bother looking for loot and picking it up. And, discovering that loot and finding that loot's an important part of the game. So we really want to encourage people to, after completing a mission or completing an encounter, to look around, pick up the loot. As you saw when we were playing, I was running towards little blue and purple things all the time. They're pretty easy to see in the game now. We've made a lot of iterations since EA Play, for example. So it's pretty easy to pick them up, but we want that to be a conscious thing that you're this game is about collecting loot. We want you to consciously go and pick it up. But give you a little bit of protection for super rare stuff so that you don't lose out on that. So that's how loot works. You guys can swap back to,
see what I can do.
Yeah, that thing. Us. I was going to say.
All right, so I got another thing people are asking a lot about are emotes. So I think
These
we've
guys?
got some good ones equipped here, actually, if we want to.
So let's see. Okay, so Nighthawk, Emily's doing the air guitar. Let's do that one more time, maybe. Camden is waving. It's a little boring, Camden. I feel like you're better than that. We've got flares. What do we got on Talisker? A little point? Ooh. I don't know if you're saying, let's go that way, or if you're saying, I'm going to come get you. That's fine. So we've got some pretty cool emotes there. I think we should talk about your appearance, Emily, both in real life and in game.
I hope you
feels like there's some
appreciate-
themes going here.
I hope you appreciate that I'm matching. This is a lot of work, a lot of coordination. So orange is my favorite color, and I just love the customization options in it. So you will usually see me looking like something very garish. And the Colossus is such a big canvas to paint on, too. It's so much
true.
area. It's great. So, yeah.
All right. Hey, let's go towards this first objective again. And let's see, maybe we have something different this time around.
Last thing on emotes, Ben.
Yep.
People are really asking this a lot. Are we going to add a dab emote?
Sure. You dab all day. We might have had one we've captured already. I can't remember if we've, you capture it or create it, and then we have to process it and get it in game. So I forget if we have one in game or if we've just got one in the pipeline that will come eventually. People did want to see the mouse and keyboard settings, so what we might do is just get through this encounter and then kind of show that. I broke the cardinal rule of flying, which is if you overheat, you get penalized and have to wait a bunch. Okay, so maybe because I reset this, we have the same encounter again.
Oh, yeah. It thought that we failed the mission, so you're just restarting the mission, I think.
Right. That makes sense. Yep, there's our buddy again. All right, well, let's get these fragments in fast this time, hey?
All right.
Where is the... Here it is. This is a bit brave.
I don't know if we've talked much about the scorpions, but you may be able to see that there are 3 different types of them, and they each have slightly different behaviors, so that makes them kind of interesting. There's one that will blow up in your face, which is my least favorite type.
Yeah, the worker will has the sack. He'll explode with a sack just like that when he gets to you, so you actually don't have to shoot it if you don't want. You can try to bait it into exploding on top of its friends, and then it will do damage to its friends as well. So there's a little... some advanced options of play there as well.
Yeah, and it leaves you covered in green slime.
We've also got some lightning falling down from this rainstorm, which is not ideal.
Oh.
Not perfect.
No, lightning can zap you out of the sky, can't it?
Yep. I'm gonna get rid of these, all the rest of the arachnids, the sculpidons, sorry, and then if you guys want to focus on the Ursix for a bit.
All right, I'm gonna use my ultimate. Boom.
Oh, nice. Please do that. That's amazing.
Ah, damn it. And take him down that much. He's legendary. He's pretty tough, but I took him down about a quarter.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I'll come over with my support field in a second. These Sculpidons are still coming, so that's
Yep.
not ideal. Might just bait them into you guys so we can kind of AoE them a bit. Yeah, put this field down for us so we can get that 20% bonus weapon damage. Oh, didn't dodge like a chump, and I'm down.
So,
Now I get made fun of by however many thousands of people are watching.
I'm going down too. No, no, I'm running away.
All right, someone needs to hit me up with a repair, please.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was going, but I almost died too. I'm on
Who we
fire.
got? Who's gonna be that
Okay.
hero? We can cue the "You Can Be My Hero, Baby" music, please. All right, here we go. Looks like Camden's got me. Maybe a little wind wall as well. Good stuff, guys. Thank you. So again, his weak spot is the head, but it's kind of a trade-off. If you get in front, you're kind of susceptible to all of his other attacks. So, like just that, I got hit by the rocks.
Yeah. One thing I didn't call out when we were talking about the contracts is you'll actually notice the difficulty in each beat escalates. So contracts are typically 3 tasks in a row, but each one should feel a little more intense than the last. So this is the easiest
We're
one. Of
starting
getting
with an
consolation. Yep.
Not ideal.
It is a legendary
Like,
contract.
so we started with the easiest one, Ben, and you still died. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Ah,
awkward.
crap. I got
So
up
this
on
is
something
good.
high.
Camden's kind of keep entertained. We got the wind wall up, which protected us from those rocks, which is great. Now it's gone. We got to have to use dodge. See if I can
Ambushed
sticky
by
grenade
spiders.
in the head there. It's maybe a bit risky. Let's try double shotgunning him. Nice flamethrower. Got my spark beam on him as well. Okay, now he's on fire. It's great. Taking
Oh,
that
damn
extra
it.
dot damage.
I might
fine.
have just died.
Can Darren get you there? That's a little brave. Did you guys both go
Nope.
down?
I think so.
That is
We died together.
unfortunate. All right, I'm gonna bait him, Camden. If you can pick him up, please.
Yay, thank you. Oh, that was embarrassing.
Oh, I got knocked out of the sky. I'm gonna come give you guys a little weapon buff.
Hey Ben, what
Yeah.
difficulty are you guys playing on?
So we are. Oh no. We are playing. Oh my gosh, really? I'm down. We are playing on hard difficulty, Jesse.
Oh yes, we are.
Thank you for. So this is a little. It's a little. I mean, if you play really well, it's kind of fine. But if you make mistakes, you certainly get punished.
Yeah.
So this L6 is pretty low now. I think we can just finish him off real quick.
I'm not.
And the
pulling my
lightning
weight.
strikes really aren't kind of helping this whole problem.
Yeah, because they'll incapacitate us if they hit us, and they're pretty nasty.
So we got Talisker back up again. Is everyone up? Yeah. So one thing, I forget if we had this last stream, but you can see in the top left over there, we have a party widget now, which we didn't have before, which is great. So you can see the direction your teammates are relative to you. So if I run ahead, I can see Talisker, Nighthawk, Camden behind me. And the kind of arc it shows gives an indication of distance, as well as you can see their shield and health. So that's really great. Now it's more obvious if people go down, you know, if someone's low health and they need a wind wall or something like that, you can kind of look at a glance. All right, so we're gonna show keyboard and mouse settings real quick. Controls, keyboard and mouse. Okay, so a couple of sensitivity options. So I play pretty low sensitivity in most games, so like 800 DPI, like but lower. So for me, I put, so again, my mouse is 800 DPI for the nerds out there, which I am one of. So I play 12%, and for me, I like my aimed and zoom to be consistent. I like that feel to feel the same. So, but you do have those two toggles there. Any kind of vertical aim sensitivity modifier you want. So, you know, we make it the same by default, but if you're used to kind of any kind of console sensitivity stuff, you can change it. I think most people leave that here. So for me, I like aiming low sensitivity, but I really like flight and swimming to be higher sensitivity. To me, that feels more like a thumbstick on a controller. And so I put mine up to 80%. And then you can see here, I won't go into all these now because it will take a lot of time. But we have a bunch of different sensitivity options, including precision and response time, which kind of, there's a little description about what these things mean as well. But I think what that means is I think a lot of PC players kind of get used to their sensitivities. And so when you're doing that, you can really like dial this in to play the way that you want it to. So that's sensitivity. And then of course, for PC and keyboard and mouse, you can do key bindings for remap. So these are our default ones. I've done a couple extra. So for me, I like to have hover on mouse 5 as well as C. And then I use melee on mouse 4 instead of V. I just find V is tricky for me, but using my thumb button for melee is easy. So yeah, that's how the PC controls work. Hopefully we tick that box. So let's go to the next one. And then I think after we do this beat of the contract, we had a few more questions for you, Emily, just around contracts and kind of how they work.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like we have to investigate a missing Arcanist.
So this is different than the second one we had last time,
Yeah, this
right?
is.
So, okay.
I'm pretty sure it is. I don't remember wolves before.
Yeah, we were silencing last time.
Yeah, we'd got another relic, but this
Look at all
is
this
different.
loot. Look at all this loot. I'm on it today.
Yeah, so we have an Arcanist researcher, must be one of Matthias's friends who needs protecting.
Do we need to... Okay, we have to get the predators first.
Let's see. Okay, oh, he's in a cage.
All right, we good.
Failing research device. Okay, that sounds exciting.
Understood. Let's see what I can do.
Let's go out. Let's see. Something here, maybe? I'm going the wrong way, kind of. I got caught up exploring the depths under the water.
Actually, I think I got lost too.
Maybe I could find some treasure. I don't know.
Well, there's treasure all over the world. Even when you're out in free play, you'll occasionally come across a chest. It's slightly embarrassing, but even when I'm doing my quests and I'm testing them on a local server where I cannot actually pick up any loot, I still cannot help clicking on those chests because they're glowing and they look exciting.
I hate to break it to you guys, we have a Titan. So...
Oh no. Okay, Titan search.
Camden, I hope you have your cleanse fire buttons ready, please.
I'm gonna die.
We'll be fine, we'll be fine, we'll be fine. So the whole thing with the Titan is... Okay, hold on, what do we gotta do? We gotta get the 3 devices. Okay, I'm gonna go with Camden over here. Do you have this one? Oh. Can you cleanse fire? I don't know if you did already. I wanna fly. Okay.
So Titans have this huge just attack that you really gotta stay out of the beam, but they also put out rings of fire, and I believe it's possible to jump over the rings if you're agile.
It's basically a jumping puzzle where you can... uh-oh, this is bad for me.
But I'm not agile, and I'm on fire now.
Okay, we have 2 Titans, so that's a thing. Let's take the one with Nighthawk first if we can. It's gonna be really interesting. Frozen, unfortunate news. Okay, so let's get where Camden is first.
Okay.
I think one at a time is probably best, unless you guys have a different idea.
That sounds good to me. I'm gonna try my ultimate again, see if
So the whole, oh nice. Because the whole thing with the Titan is, when parts of his arms glow, they're the weak points. And if you do enough damage to the weak points, you can interrupt what he's doing. So if he's casting like a, you know, any of his attacks like this, if we were to hit his arms with enough damage, he would kind of stop, and then we could be more offensive.
Right.
He'll also spawn those, you see those explosions behind us just there? So you've really got to time the dodges when you see it in the corner of your eye. And then the rings of fire, you got to dodge, and then he spawns little elementals as well.
Hey Ben, question from everyone: are there like different sizes of Titan?
Yeah, so there are small Titans, and there are big Titans, and then of the big Titans, there are like, you know, like elite and legendary versions. So this is an elite lesser. So this is one of the, is this one of the higher ones? Oh, the more powerful ones?
Well, he's elite, so he's pretty nasty, but lesser does imply there are bigger ones we're going to meet, which I'm not too much of a fan of. Oh my goodness. I can even see for all of the fire that I'm on.
Okay, I'm putting my field down, but like right on his face, which is borderline crazy.
I need a health pack. Oh, there's one over there.
So you can see I'm trying to time most of my shots on his ability casts and then like reload in between. So that I'm ready again for his next cast.
I think one of the nastiest things about him is if his fire ring hits you, then you're on fire, which overheats you, which means you can't fly to miss the next one.
They're not for the faint-hearted. These are...
No.
Are there 3? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I think
fine.
we just got another one.
All right.
See, remember what I said about the difficulty escalating? Did I mention?
Oh, I got hit by that.
Yeah, I am now on fire, and I just keep getting hit.
Let's
I
get
can't
more
fly.
abilities out here. Yeah, so kind of the dance is push on those abilities. Probably need to keep this other one in my line of sight, because I keep getting hit by its abilities as well. So I'm kind of failing a little bit on these dodges for the ones that come behind me. For those watching, you can see you've really got to... It's kind of like shoot, 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 dodge, you know, like this, reload, shoot, shoot, shoot. But I dodged into someone else's. So the other kind of tactic here is if you clump up, you get hit by all the attacks. So we've kind of got a maybe triangle formation or square formation around him is a little better, because then we don't get hit by everyone's everything. We just kind of have to deal with our own stuff.
Oh, ouch.
Okay, see, I dodged that one that time, I think.
Nice. Oh.
Okay, where are we at on alt status? If
I'm
anyone has
almost-
one, I feel like it would be... Oh man,
It's a good time.
I feel like it would be probably worth it. It's probably worth it. So there's lots of health goblets on him. I see a few of us are low. We want to like, it's kind of that risk, like in between this cast, maybe I can pick up a couple of health things and ammo. So, you know, these creatures are kind of longer fights, and so at certain times they'll still drop armor and health, so that for longer fights, you know, you kind of can resupply if you need to. Oh, Nighthawk down. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Masterwork item. Okay, alright. I see Emily back, but I can't hear her. It's okay, we'll keep going. Do we have any other questions, Jesse? We can answer as we try to defeat this final one.
Let's see what we've got on chat here. So what happens if everyone dies here and you all go down?
Yep, so if you go down, a player can repair you. That's like an unlimited timer, unless everybody goes down. So if everybody goes down, it's a party wipe. And then in the case of a legendary contract like this, we would start at our last checkpoint. So we would be at the beginning of this encounter and we'd have to defeat all of these titans again, basically. To get a little reload there. Oh, nice, her ultimate's going off. So Emily's back in game, we just can't quite hear her, so that's okay. We have her skills, just not her question answering abilities. Any other questions, Jesse, that you can see? I'm gonna try to get up close here, it's sketchy.
So I see we're being asked about PC settings a lot, of like what recommended specs are for PC. I believe we released that, didn't we, Ben?
Yeah, we did. I don't have all the info in my head for that, but certainly if you look it up on our official website, I'm pretty sure it is all there. Okay, so I managed... I dropped right into the fire. Yeah, getting this dance right takes a little bit of practice. All right, if we have any ults left, it would be great to finish this guy off. Come on, cost. There we go. There we go. Good stuff, team. Oh, same thing, got greedy for that loot too early, like I do every single time. All right, so I think we might show this end of expedition screen, a little bit of it. I think that's okay, right? Mainly because I want to show I just want to show the masterwork reveal because I want to know what I got. And let's do that. All right, that sounds good. All right, but why don't we get a couple more questions? We're probably almost out of time. I got kind of carried away in the excitement there. I'm going to skip a few things here. Do I want to? Hold on. Yeah, I'll skip a couple of details because we should really talk about all this in a different setting. But let's see. Oh, look at this. All right, Venom Dart's pretty good. 3 dots. Nice. Okay, so that's some pretty big shotgun, 20% damage and 20% ammo. So, okay, my shotgun usage would be amazing now. And then the Venom Darts debuffs with poison, or acid damage rather, which makes enemies take more damage as well, which is kind of cool. So I got a bunch of cool stuff. Venom Darts, got a Seeking Missile, we got lots of loot. Like, legendary contracts are no joke. What do we get here? Assault Rifle, Sniper Rifle, Colossus component, trying to convince me to go play something different. It's very savvy. Assault Rifle, Sniper Rifle, LMG, nice, and a Barrage Heavy Pistol, which probably isn't as good as the one that I already have on. This is a high rate of fire one. All right, so we might swap off the game back to my head, I guess, so that I can go through the rest of the UIs that I think we're not going to show right now. Thank you. Alrighty, so, okay, so what did we go through? We looked at a Ranger with Spark Beam, Sticky Grenade, heavy pistol, the double shot shotgun, which is super powerful, but like pretty low clip because you use 2 shells per. We did keyboard and mouse controls, so you could see how keyboard and mouse works. I think flight feels really good now on the mouse. It didn't earlier. I think it's feeling pretty good. Controller might take the edge by a tiny bit in that feel, but then I think you get the extra precision of a mouse for aiming, so it's kind of a pretty solid trade-off there. We looked at how those settings worked. Emily was kind enough to come on. Unfortunately, we lost her just at the end, but she explained like who the agents are and kind of the story behind them and how they were created and the different things they kind of focus on, and explain contracts are the things you do for agents to kind of earn their favor. We did a legendary contract, which is kind of a 3-stage mission that is different every time, so you don't really know what you're going to do. Even you saw we did it twice there, and we had a different experience both times, which is really cool. We played on hard difficulty, so we were pretty geared, and we still had a tough time. Like, I would say we're geared to the tail end of what a legendary contract on hard should be, and we still went down a bunch. But I guess that's where you make fun of us for being low-skill devs. What else? Did we do anything else, Jesse? Oh, we showed the flight ceiling. That was kind of fun. Yeah, so that's everything we showed. I think we could do, if you have questions, Jesse, a couple more questions. Otherwise, maybe we should wrap this one up.
Yeah, there are just a couple. One question I saw for keyboard and mouse controls, can you invert your y-axis?
On keyboard and mouse?
That's what they asked.
No. I don't think so. Hold on. You can't see this. I'll go look. No, but is that a thing? Does anyone in the history of all time do that? No, it's not a thing. You can invert for controller, absolutely. Well, you know what? What happens if I invert this? Let's see. Does this work? No, yeah, it's just for controller, so no, you cannot. But is that a thing? I guess if that's a big enough thing, we could look to add it later.
Last thing, Ben, what would your best advice be for people who are going to be going into the VIP demo next week?
Oh, strap in and get ready. No, I think the whole point of this is we want people to be able to play like a full cross-section of the game. And so, if you've pre-ordered, I would go in there, I would find some forums, I would make some friends, start getting ready for the people you want to group up and play with when the game launches. I would try a couple of Javelins out, play around with the weapons and abilities, see what your favorite is, so that on day one, you can kind of like optimize and get ready to play. But most of all, just have fun. And then, if you want to invite some friends, there'll be a way to give out some codes to invite a couple friends in. So if you like the game, but, your friends haven't picked it up yet, like invite them in and they can play. Otherwise, come and have fun. We've got some really cool things. That demo is really, really fun. I know Mike has worked really hard with the team on getting that ready, and they've done an amazing job. We played it the other day, and it was super fun. It's a great kind of section of the game to play. Just have fun. All right, so we might wrap it up there. If there are more questions, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ben Irvo. Emily is at Pentapod, because she can't say that herself. Feel free to follow us or ask some questions. We check Reddit as well, so feel free to stop by Reddit and post any questions you have. And between all of us out there trying to talk, we'll do our best to get back to you. Otherwise, thanks again to all the amazing developers who are out there working hard while we're on here doing a fun stream, showing off this incredible work. And finally, thanks again to all of our fans and the amazing community that's been so positive and awesome to work with for tuning in again. And outside of that, we'll leave you with a trailer, and then we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.